Welcome to MMA Al Dente. I picked Juliana Pena to beat Amanda Nunes. Please don't ever forget that, because I know I won't ever forget that. It's the highlight of my fucking life. I'm going to be talking to you today about Volkov versus Aspinall, the whole fight card. Just give you a prediction for each fight, and I'm going to give you some bets along the way. It's going to be really quick. Tom Aspinall versus Alexander Volkov. I'm picking Volkov to win via decision. I think this will be that first fight where Aspinall hits that wall. You know, he's going to be up against a guy that he can't put away. You know, he's not going to have that option like he did against Arlovsky, even though I didn't know that was an option. I doubt he did, of taking him down and just choking him out. I don't see that being here with Volkov. And the first round knockout, I don't see being here either. Volkov's certainly capable of being the best distance fighter ever, or one of them. But he's a great distance fighter, and he's one of the few guys that will be distinctly bigger than Tom Aspinall. In addition to that, he's comfortable fighting long fights. I know he's lost 5-rounders to Cyril Gane and Curtis Blades, but, you know, those are against 2 of the top fighters, and one of them being a bona fide grappling beast, wrestler beast in Curtis Blades. That's not going to be here in Tom Aspinall. I don't think so. And Volkov's only been KO'd twice against Derek Lewis and Minikov back in Bellator. There's, you know, he's got a great chin, in other words. And Tom Aspinall, there's a lot of upside to him. I really like the way he won that Arlovsky fight, and every other fight, you know, just he gets it done in the first round violently. He has a lot of upside, and he's only been defeated once. It was to a veteran deep in the second round with a heel hook, and that was when he was much more inexperienced than he is now. My point is, a lot of upside to Tom Aspinall. I just think this will be the wall that he hits. Volkov is a bona fide 5-round fighter. He's, you know, really tough to put away, submit, knock out. And he's tough to wrangle and dominate grappling-wise. You know, even against Curtis Blades, that wasn't just, he didn't fold like others have. Abdurakhimov and whoever else. He's, you know, Volkov's got that heart, that grit, and that tenacity. And I just see that taking, you know, being on display on the feet. And at that point, on the feet in the middle of the third round, where he's never been against, or, you know, against a guy like Volkov, who's a monster and a bona fide elite fighter. I don't know about bona fide elite, but I consider him elite, and I'm sure many do. I think this will be the wall that he hits. I'm predicting Volkov wins a decision. Probably going to sprinkle a little bit of money on that, but also sprinkle a little bit of money on TKO, rounds 3, 4, and 5. That's what I'll be doing. My heart's not totally behind those bets. Those are mostly coming from me being a degenerate. But, and still, when I say degenerate, I'm talking about just sprinkling pennies on it. You know, a few dollars. Nothing crazy. I don't have the money to, you know, ruin any great life here. But, anyway, I'm picking Volkov to win. And, I'm anxious to see how Aspinall looks. You know, it's not like I'm rooting against him. I guess I am because I'm betting against him. But I want to see how he is as a fighter against a guy like Volkov. Volkov is, I want to say a general litmus test, but he's really not too general. He's a very specific, unique test in being 6'7". It's not like he's going to dictate how Aspinall will fight, you know, tactically or whatever in deep waters for every fight, because this is a different matchup. But that's why, in particular, I think on the feet, being trapped against a guy like Volkov when you're tired and hurt in round 3 and you haven't been there, it's different than being trapped against a guy where the takedown is an option or the knockout is an option. And I just see Volkov being able to fight longer and more defensively better as the fight goes on. I see him getting better, and I'm not even sure how round 1's going to go. If Aspinall wins, it's in round 1. I don't think that'll happen. I'm not saying he won't win the round, but I don't think he'll get the finish. And I see Volkov getting better generally as the fight goes on. So those are my thoughts. Next up, Dan Hooker versus Arnold Allen. I'm picking Dan Hooker to win. I'm picking it via tight decision. Very tight decision. You know, course, it could be a split decision. If you get those split or majority odds, really split majorities for, you know, whatever, 10-8s or 10-10s, which don't exist now. But I see this being a tight decision. Dan Hooker, I'm picking him because I've seen enough grit and technique, but really the grit and the heart from him to know he'll be there and he'll be trying in round 3. Arnold Allen, I have too. Seen him perform in round 3 plenty of times. His last time out, I thought he lost round 3 to Sadiq Youssef. He was starting to fade. That didn't look good, but he's also been there to get a submission in round 3 inside the UFC over a good fighter. So he's, you know, I'm not writing Arnold Allen off. And on the feet, they're both very good strikers. Dan Hooker, you know, he's got to keep Arnold Allen away from him. He's got those strikes up the middle, knees and front kicks. I'd love to see him be able to work those. But Arnold Allen's a big puncher, and he's, you know, he's got the cardio to throw volume anyway, at least in combinations. And this is going to be an interesting fight. These guys are both, I'm expecting razor-thin margin of, you know, really close rounds, all 3 rounds. And I'm picking Hooker because I just think, generally speaking, I expect him to be ahead in round 3. Now, I'm making this video after they've made weight, and I have no concerns about Hooker's weight cut, even though it's his first time in 6 years. I guess there could be some cardio issues or some issues, but he's been there before, and he's only a more seasoned pro now, and he decided to go down. So I'm going to trust him here. He's not, it's not like he's 40 years old. And I'm going to pick Dan Hooker to be the better fighter in round 3 and assume he took one of the first 2 rounds. Or bet on it anyway. Actually, I'm not going to bet on it. I'm not betting on that fight. Paddy Pimblett versus Kazula Vargas. I'm predicting Paddy Pimblett wins this fight. I do think he's been good enough to be in the UFC for some time now. Kazula Vargas, I'm still unsure of, but you know, I'm unsure of Zhu Rong too, or Rong Zhu. But Paddy Pimblett is a really good fighter, really good grappler, and as we saw in his last fight, he's down to throw, and he's got knockout power. But the fact that he's down to throw, I said that as a positive, could be a negative if he throws too hard or whatever, gets caught throwing too much. He could be in trouble. I'm just assuming he'll have a distinct grappling advantage and wrestling advantage in this fight where he'll take the fight to the ground when he's in trouble. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. So I'm predicting Paddy, well, not that I'm really hoping he wins, but I'm predicting Paddy Pimblett wins. And for the sake of my prediction, I'm hoping he wrestles. There is definitely a submission prop that's possible there. You know, Kazula Vargas has been tapped by Jose Caceres, who's Bruce Leroy's brother, Alex Caceres' brother, who also tapped, the same guy, Jose, tapped Kamaru Usman. But he's, you know, he's a good, really durable fighter, other than that loss to Jose Caceres. But Paddy Pimblett's a bigger, stronger man, and he's got really good grappling chops. I think if he's on top, especially for a prolonged period of time, by round 2 or 3, he's going to get that rear naked choke. And in particular, the rear naked choke. That's what I'm predicting. Next up, Gunnar Nelson versus Takashi Sato. This is a fight between 2 veterans who've made their, you know, bones in the UFC already. I'm predicting Gunnar Nelson here, but there's a lot of X factors here. Gunnar hasn't been in the UFC in 2.5 years, but I'm expecting him to be still very good, technically. On his feet and on the ground, he'll have a distinct advantage grappling-wise against Takashi Sato, who, if he loses, typically it's via choke, submission, rear naked, arm triangle. And Gunnar Nelson, well, Takashi Sato, when he wins, it's usually via knockout. He's got great hands and knockout power. Gunnar Nelson's only been knocked out by Santiago Ponzinibbio. Again, the X factor that he's been out for 2.5 years. Who knows how that's going to play a role, but I'm expecting Gunnar to come back strong. I'm not even saying he's going to lose the battle on his feet, because Gunnar's a really good fighter himself. I feel like he can outstrike a lot of great strikers, and certainly every good one. And this is going to be an interesting fight on the feet. Takedown-wise, I do think Gunnar has it in him to get a takedown. And against Takashi Sato. You know, I wouldn't put it past him to go the Bilal Muhammad route. And even for this fight to look exactly like that. And I'm predicting him to win via submission. I'm not going to bet on it because the odds of him winning via submission aren't too great. But I like him winning via submission, around 2 or 3. Molly McCann versus Luana Carolina. I'm predicting Molly McCann wins, and I'm betting on Molly McCann. I like Molly McCann to win via decision. I forgot what the odds are. I wrote it down. Plus 100. I think they're even. But I think the odds are even for that. But I really like her to win via decision here. You know, I like it regardless of where the fight takes place. The fact that it's her hometown is only going to help her when she gets a big reception, a big reaction anytime she jabs or does anything. And the crowd will get behind her. You know, I just know it. And she brings a lot of those little theatrics, you know, pumping the crowd up and all that stupid horse shit. She'll do that. And, look, I'm not just betting on that. I like her technically to win this fight. I think she's one of the better, she's the better top game fighter. Luana Carolina, she's long and tall, got 6 inches of reach on McCann. And, she's definitely got distinct advantages, but McCann is tough to handle. On the feet, anywhere. She's going to be all over Luana. I'm not sure who's going to win the striking battle, but I think generally the grappling battle, McCann will win. Find herself on top, and she's a good top game fighter. She's got a good top game. Generally, the fighter that you bet on to win a decision when you're pretty sure it'll go to a decision is the fighter you expect to be on top more. That's Molly McCann. And for the support or whatever, I look to the crowd to help her out in just about any situation. So I'm picking Molly McCann, and I'm betting on her hard to win. You get, I think, like I said, close to even odds for her to win a decision. That's my prediction. Even minus 145 for her to win at the money line. Next up, Jai Herbert versus Ilia Topuria. All right. I'm going to be betting on Jai Herbert. This is one of those fucking idiot moments. I'm picking Topuria to win, but I'm betting on Jai Herbert. And I'm only betting on Jai, maybe not. There's something with Topuria there. I think if Topuria does win, even though he's a great submission artist, snatches those necks, I think his best chance to win, even in this fight, is via knockout. Because Jai Herbert, I just don't trust his chin that much. Now, Jai Herbert is worth a bet here because I think he's an underrated lightweight. Topuria missed weight against Movsar Evloev, and the fight was canceled, I think, day of, and he had to move up from 145 to 155. Here he is fighting a guy who's got 6 or 7 inches of height on him and reach, and the guy is, I mean, he was tuning up Trinaldo last year for 2.5 rounds. He's a very underrated fighter, I think. You know, he's got those losses to Trinaldo via 3rd round knockout and to Moicano via 2nd round submission. And even his knockout win in the UFC is over Kama Worthy, whose chin is just, I could knock him out. I couldn't, but I could. Kama Worthy has no chin anymore. So Jai Herbert, you know, I got to even take away from his victory. But I'm still going to be betting on him because the odds are just too steep for a fight like this with all these X factors and a guy who I do think is underrated. Jai Herbert's got knockout power, bona fide in that weight class. He's knocked out plenty of good fighters. And now Topuria's moving up. He's a much shorter fighter. Maybe that's it for the X factors, but still, it's enough. It's enough for me to bet on Jai Herbert. I'm going to bet on him to win. I think if you bet on him to get... All right, this is some horse shit. BetUS.com. I'm just going to give you a little tip. If you want to bet on Jai Herbert, try BetUS.com. You can get KO, submission, TKO, whatever, any finish at plus 800, maybe 850. But for Jai Herbert to win by knockout, which is what I think is most likely, it's plus 500. Not knockout in round 1. I'm talking about knockout, flat. It's 500. for him to win by knockout or submission or this or TKO or DQ, it's plus 800. They fucked up. So, but I bring that to you to talk like Chael Sonnen because I'm not sure if you'll get plus 800. But if that's the case, bet on Jai Herbert to win via finish. Not big, but sprinkle something. The head's your other bet. Don't hedge anything with this. It's just a fucking fluky thing. But also, Topuria to win by knockout in round 1, which I think is most likely. If he does win by really almost anything, but certainly knockout, it's round 1. I could see him winning with the submission later on in the fight, but knockout's going to have to come in round 1, I think. Plus 600. That's worth $5 to win 30. Just to give you an idea of how I roll around here. All right. But my prediction to win for the fight would be Ilia Topuria to win via knockout in round 1. Could come on the ground too, because he's a beast on the ground. I just, in general, I think Jai Herbert's biggest weakness is his fucking, his chin. All right, you know what? I'm going to cut this short here because my phone is almost dead. And I'm just going to make this the main card fucking predictions. Those are my main card predictions. And I will come to you with the prelims, starting with Grundy versus Makwan Amirkhani. Thank you for tuning in. And I will see you soon. I don't know. Just fucking go fuck yourself.